welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is a special edition where we are going to be discussing what really went wrong for mutual fund investors on June 4th, the day of the elections when stock markets crashed by 6%. But many mutual fund investors who wanted to really take the benefit of the lower market prices, they wanted to punch in orders, they wanted to invest in lump sum amounts as far as the markets are concerned, they could not do so as their investments were not accepted the same day. Joining in on the show with me is my colleague Navneet Dubey, Associate Editor of Money Today and Business Today Television. Also with us is our guest on the show, Dhirendra Kumar, CEO Value Research, is now with us. Warm welcome to both of you and thank you so much for taking the time out. Now, this is an extremely important topic that we are going to be discussing, something that has been buzzing across social media platforms all through last 2 days. Let me first go across to my colleague Navneet to really help all our viewers really understand as to what has exactly transpired in these last 2 days. Navneet, over to you. What has happened? How did we come to know that mutual fund investors have been at a loss? All those investors who really wanted to invest on June 4th in markets.
Yes, Sakshi. Actually, a large number of investors using online platforms like Zerodha, Grow, and other brokerage platforms encountered significant issues on June 4th. In fact, many people took to social media and said that they wanted to take advantage of lower NAV, but they didn't get it. So, despite purchasing their mutual fund on June 4th, and these investors discovered that they were allocated the NAV of June 5th. So, they actually incurred several losses. Generally, if you place an MF order and transfer funds before the cutoff time of 2:30 p.m. via broker, you get the same day NAV.
Okay, Navneet. Let's go across to our guest to really understand whether that could have happened or not. Mr. Kumar, why don't you tell us, what is exactly the process with which the mutual fund investors, when they punch in orders, is 2:30 p.m. a cutoff date, cutoff time for each day? What happens if an order is punched before that, and what kind of NAVs are then given to the viewers, just to understand whether something like this has really happened?
Buying a mutual fund is very different from buying a stock. When you buy a stock, you first transfer the money to the broker and then you punch your order. And then the orders are matched at the stock exchanges and the settlement happens and the money and the settlement happens and you get the debit or credit in your demat account based on that. Yeah. So before buying something, you have transferred the money to the broker in case of stock. What has happened in case of mutual fund, that the rule is that if you have to transfer you have to remit the money after deciding which fund you want to invest in before 2:30 p.m. for most equity funds. The rule is different for different kind of fund.
Okay.
So before 2:30 p.m. if you transfer that money, so even keeping and because every transaction is happening in a via media way. Now there's an investor, there is an app, Grow, Zerodha or Coin or Paytm Money or whatever. And then at their backend is BSE Star. BSE Star has kept 2 o'clock as its cutoff time. So the money moving from a customer to clearing corporation through a payment gateway, if it does not happen, mutual fund rules are very stringent. SEBI is very clear that if the fund company does not get the money, there cannot be an allotment. So if the money and the information of which fund one is buying, if that is not in the fund company's account or in the clearing corporation's account from where it will move to the fund company, allotment cannot be made. So even if the money has been debited from an investor's account, but it has not reached the fund company or the clearing corporation, one will not get that NAV, and that is where the delay happened. The delay would have happened for a variety of reasons because there are 3 entities involved here.
Okay.
The investors' own bank, then the payment gateway, and then the clearing corporation, which is for which the interface is BSE Star, and from there the money has to move to the fund company, to the registrars.
Okay, so do we have any idea where exactly would this delay have happened at either of the situations? I mean, do we have that clarity yet?
Yeah, it's very clear that the clogging happened at the payment gateway. The money did not move to the clearing corporation, and if the money does not reach clearing corporation, no allotment of NAV can be done. because that is the rule of the, that is the SEBI rule that, till the fund company gets the money and there is the acknowledgement of getting that money, either at clearing corporation or to the registrars before the cutoff time, money cannot be, funds cannot be, units cannot be allotted.
Okay, understood. Let me get just Navneet over here.
And
Navneet, give us.
if units are allotted before this thing happens, it will be unfair to all other investors because
Okay.
all existing investors of of that particular mutual fund will be shortchanged because they will be allotted units at lower prices of that day without the fund getting that money. So that is just not possible. That used to happen earlier in the physical arena where when people will write a check, get the allotment, and if the market actually goes up subsequently, they will bounce their check. And so that is the old time, to prevent that, the rule has been made very stringent that give the money, get the acknowledgement, then allot the units.
Okay, got that. So that is the exact process. I hope all our viewers are at least with us, at least till that process. Let me bring in Navneet here. Navneet, after this thing came to fore, you're talking about social media complaints coming in from a lot of customers as well. What have brokering companies really said about it? And have they given any kind of a clarification? What has Bombay Stock Exchange really said on that front?
So let me quote what BSE had said on this. So they said like there was no technical glitch at the exchange on 4th June. However, there was some lag in receiving payments from the UPI channel for a few customers, as Dhiren said. However, Zerodha MF platform coin said that transactions got delayed due to issue with one of its payment aggregator. Also, according to a post on X, the payment aggregator delayed sending funds information to Indian Clearing Corporation (ICCL), which impacted the settlement of Bombay Stock Exchange. So ICCL is the subsidiary of BSE that is responsible for clearing and settlement.
Okay, so payment gateway, payment aggregators, that is where it is boiling down to as of now.
Yes.
We will come to it as to what could be the next course of action, but before that, Dhiren, I wanted to understand, do we have a sense yet as to how many people would have really faced this kind of an issue on June 4th? How many investors did see that loss of the next day NAV being allotted to them and not the same day, since they wanted that?
Oh, this will not be a very large number, but it can well be that particular day there was a surge in the number of investors who were tempted to buy the dip and buy the dip through a mutual fund and buy the dip with conformity that the market has gone down and it looked like market has overreacted and rightly so. Since then we have seen the turnaround, but I don't think those investors will be greatly disappointed. But because what we have seen right now is that these investors. Subsequent 3 days of surge and even allotment on 5th, and the returns are reasonably decent.
Okay, so returns are reasonably decent, so not too much of an impact that investors may have seen. Only a few investors may have seen that issue as of now.
I would also like to.
Sir.
Like to point out that there are a lot of investors who have set up their mandates, who have set up their SIPs, and many of those SIPs would have been, the normal transaction which happens by way of mandate, which is a debit mandate. You permit a fund company, you have given it is almost like a standing instruction that on such and such date, debit my account and give me that. All those transactions which are structured and happening for a long period of time, those things happened and they happen seamlessly. So this will be only for those investors who wake up at 11 o'clock and thought that, okay, let me buy it, use this opportunity. They missed that day's NAV. So maybe there is a 2% opportunity loss. I would not say loss, it's an opportunity loss. And one can be regretful about it. But I also align with the rules, because if the fund is not getting the money, no way an investor should ever get allotment of units, because it will be giving other investors money to some new investors whose money hasn't reached a mutual fund.
Okay, understood. So for sure, this is clear that the rules are set only till the time the your funds do receive the money. Only after that the units can be allotted.
Yep.
So for sure, that is one clear agenda. One cannot be hoping for units to be allocated even if the funds did not go through to them. So at this point in time, do you think platforms like Zerodha, Grow, where all the anger is really going to right now, they are actually not at loss? Because initially it was being seen that probably they are not able to handle the kind of volume surge that we saw on that day as well. So nothing of that sort. Do you think are they on a comfortable footing on that front at least?
Oh yes, absolutely. I don't think they can be blamed because and one should understand that when you are buying a stock, you can hold them accountable that their systems are not working. They are unable to route the order. In this case, they are the stockbroker's role while buying a mutual fund is very different. He is just a order routing mechanism. He is a pass through. The broker does not get the money. The Indian Clearing Corporation gets the money. BSE Star gets the money. The payment and your money gets routed. So I don't think it is proper to it is more for BSE Star to be held accountable that they should have a mechanism which has the capacity to deal with volumes or surge in volumes, because this is something which has happened now. It can happen time and again.
It can happen time and again. So, what could be the ideal course, and who should be now, in talks, and should the SEBI also take cognizance of this? What is the ideal way to go about this kind of an issue that is erupted?
I think this is something that the NPCI and has to deal with, or the payment gateway or payment aggregators have to really smoothen the process, because the process is pretty routine when it comes to setting up mandates, money moving from an investor's account to the fund company through the Indian Clearing Corporation with a payment aggregator. So there are four entities here. The clogging at any stage should be, one should just do some kind of, stress testing, that what happens if in a brief period of time, these systems are exposed to, millions of transactions of low value, because, it is also a voluminous thing. Many people were trying to do these transactions with their 5,000, 10,000, and, routing these transactions with the money moving account around, money moving from a customer's account to the payment gateway to BSE Star through Clearing Corporation. It could be 5,000 rupee or 5 lakh rupee. It amounts to the same effort. It amounts to the same clogging. So just stress testing, and I think they should take a lesson from this and prepare for it.
Okay.
And it is not loss; it's an opportunity loss.
It's an opportunity loss. That is exactly the point that I was coming to again, to get, you can see on the screens also we are playing, we are putting across the screenshots of all those people who have who've taken to social media to talk about the kind of issue they had and explain as to what has really gone. So it looks like from all these statements that they feel that they have really lost a huge amount of money as well. What has really happened? What is the difference of the NAV between, say, June 4th and June 5th? What could have been the actual loss, if you could help us?
It was a 6% decline. So, and most funds were also very severely faced a big decline. So that, they would have bought it at 6%. And next day, the price was up and not recovered fully. But yes.
Next day, the markets were up 3%, sir.
Yeah. So, you effectively lost 3%. If that is the context of that specific fund.
Okay, so about 3% is the kind of loss that has really happened.
Opportunity loss for those.
Opportunity loss that has really happened right here, and we now know that of course it's the payments gateway and the aggregators that need to be perhaps stepping up their processes so that something like this does not really happen. Of course, we have seen that Razor Pay and some such payment aggregators and gateways, they are not taking the responsibility as of now, and everybody is pointing fingers at each other. What is the ideal way? What should be? Should we be requesting the NPCI to really look at into this space now?
I think so, because Razorpay and all are third-party aggregators. They are just enabler. They are aggregating multiple channels. You can have net banking, you can have debit card, you can have UPI. Now UPI has become a very big volume channelizing mechanism for individual investors to route their investments or move their money from their account to different destinations. And the value of that could be small, and the volume could be very large. And this is where uh, it is just a matter of too many entities in the process. I think it will be nice for BSE Star to take a lesson from this and how they can streamline their processes much better.
Right.
Because BSE is great at settling things. BSE is great at routing things, and there is absolutely no error. And complexity of a mutual fund, that you can have a SIP transaction, you can have a STP transaction, you can have a SWP, or you can have a bulk purchase. And bulk purchase, the payment mechanism could be multiple: debit card, online banking, and UPI payments. So with this kind of complexity, I think streamlining things in a manner where they have because multiple steps into the process, all of it has to work very smoothly. And
Right.
in this kind of surge, uh, slack on any on part of any entity can lead to this kind of disruption.
Right. So, lastly, sir, just help us understand, from the investor's point of view, right now they're taking to social media because they do not know who do they approach right now. What is the process like? Who can they complain to? And will it be fair on their part to really ask for a compensation from the, respective parties, maybe the brokers that they have their accounts with, maybe the payment gateways? Is it a fair ask?
Yeah, it is a fair ask because the money got moved out of my account, and it was done with a fair intention. It was done in a legitimate way. It is a fair ask, but I don't think they will. It's a fair give from the entities, because it is very difficult to, it's very difficult to pinpoint the accountability. And if the money eventually does not reach the fund company, investors will not get it. They have recourse. They can actually get clarification and consolation from there are two people who can give them clarification, which is the fund in which they invested. There is a grievance officer designated for each company, and so they should actually just give the explanation. This was the debit time, and they got the allotment here, and BSE Star will end up answering them. And the second is, SEBI has a very elaborate system of grievance redressal and lodging your complaints, which is course. Just go register, and you will definitely you get an answer. Whether it actually be a consolation for you or not is a different matter.
Absolutely, but for sure you should definitely go ahead and raise those complaints. Probably this
Yeah,
will give
formally
the
complain it.
yes, because regulators will take cognizance if more and more people approach with such problems as well, so that the processes can be smoothened out later on, streamlined further, so that some such cases do not recur in the future as well. But many thanks, Mr. Kumar, for being
Thank
with
you.
us on the show. Truly and always appreciate your presence with us on Business Today Television in these times of crisis. Yours is a very sane advice that's coming in and would definitely console a whole lot of investors who are right now confused with whether their money has been lost in this interim or not. It's just an opportunity loss for sure, but do raise your complaints. That's the key word coming in over here. Very difficult to point the accountability, but I hope all the involved entities do take cognizance of this and have a process which is smoothened out in future too. Many thanks, Navneet, also for being with us on this show. Viewers, we'll wrap it up at that, but do stay tuned as Daily Calls comes in next, which will address all your stock-related queries.
India's fastest growing airline and one of the most interesting aviation markets in the world. I'm talking about Akasa Air in India. It's going to be 2 months more that you will complete 2 years. Joining me is Vinay Dubey, CEO of Akasa Air, to talk more about this. Vinay,